In order to effectively demonstrate the user experience and aesthetics of the StatAI goggles in an everyday setting, we believe that creating and presenting a digital simulation is essential. This is because creating a digital simulation is much more feasible than producing a real-world functional version, given our limited time frame and expenses. In order to create the digital simulation, I utilized different software development tools such as Unity for assembling different assets and behaviors, Blender for designing various basic 3D models that you can now see on screen, and Visual Studio for programming the behavior of each game object. Initially, the digital simulation was conceptualized as a detective-themed game where the player would step into the shoes of a delivery driver for the StatAI company. The player would handle interactions with the NPCs and the StatAI user interface in order to gather information on the delivery address. However, due to time constraints, I had to pivot away from that idea. This turned out to be a positive, as the game aspect would have taken away from the main goal of showcasing StatAI. Instead, my focus shifted towards refining the details. I concentrated on developing the world the player is interacting with, the aesthetics of the StatAI user interface, the user experience, and presenting the impact that technology like StatAI could have on the surrounding environment. My focus while developing was to showcase both the pros of StatAI, for example the convenience it can provide, and also the cons, like the dependency and ethical concerns of augmented reality and digital tracking. Players have many different ways to interact with the Unity scene. For example, the player can explore the surrounding environment, scan NPCs to retrieve data such as medical history, occupation, criminal history, etc., scan items in stores to see their nutritional value, potential discounts, store credit, etc., and pick up many different game objects within the virtual world. During development, I ran into many different challenges which I would have to navigate through. One example of this can be found in the UI elements. Originally, the panel's selections were designed as a scrollable menu. This would allow the player to easily navigate the UI while also avoiding screen clutter. However, I encountered difficulties which would take a large amount of time to overcome. To address this, I instead decided to display all the selections at once, allowing the player to see all the available information for an efficient user experience. And since there are only 5 panel options, these options don't clutter the screen space as once previously thought.
To allow users to fully experience the StatAI goggles via digital simulation, we need to provide them with a proper environment to use the capabilities of the goggles. We decided to make the setting of our digital simulation a city block. The area includes a medical facility, apartment building, and a convenience store. Amaya and I created multiple iterations of the building's design to ensure that the buildings reflect the setting and to make sure that the layout made sense. In addition to buildings, I also created a variety of items and objects for users to interact with using the StatAI goggles. The designs of the buildings and items in the game all follow a low poly and simple texture design. This design was chosen to lower the amount of work required. Using Blender, I created all the assets. The general workflow of creating items was first to find a reference image, and then recreate the image in a low poly format. Or additionally, I would follow a variety of YouTube tutorials to create certain items. For buildings, I would first create a rough layout following the design created earlier. After that, I would flesh out the building, adding doorways and windows. Then, I would add assets that I created earlier, such as beds, doors, desks, into the building. Finally, I would then texture the building using basic colors.
This is the physical goggle model of our project StatAI. It has a front frame with 2 touch on and off buttons on either side of the frame. They are placed on the front of the frame for easy reachable access. The strap is flexible and has an adjustable dial at the back to further tighten the AR goggles on the user's head. The design is inspired by many existing AR goggles such as Apple Vision Pro and Microsoft HoloLens. The software I used to make the model is Blender, which is a 3D modeling program. The material we used is filament of a 1.75mm nozzle for printing. The issue with 3D printing the strap as well as the front frame was caused due to the lack of experience in adding supports to the model. So instead, we added a strap from a bike helmet and some rubber bands to represent the final design.
Our smartwatch, in addition to our StatAI goggles, redefines health monitoring with its advanced features. Serving as a medical tag, it tracks health statistics and vitals, while also functioning as a convenient manual remote for the StatAI goggles. By rotating the dial of the watch, we allow users to effortlessly switch between different modes. In blood pressure mode, sensors monitor blood volume, converting data into numerical values displayed on the wristwatch screen. The smartwatch utilizes radio frequencies in various modes, penetrating all skin tones for accurate readings, unlike lasers, which have been known to struggle in darker skin tones. This is also an effective tool for emergency responders, who are able to bypass the system lock and gain access to all their medical information and history, thus being an effective and advantageous tool for health industries and first responders. The design of our smartwatch was inspired by existing products in the market, including the Apple Watch and Samsung Galaxy Watch. We opted for a circular screen shape due to its structural integrity and even distribution of stress. This enhances the durability of our product, making it less prone to breakage and ensuring a longer lifespan. Similarly, our smartwatch features a dial, or cog, instead of buttons. The dial has fewer moving parts, contributing to a longer life expectancy and robust functionality. When it comes to the strap, we've utilized magnets. This ensures universal fit, accommodating wrists of all sizes without concerns of being too loose or too tight. Additionally, there are no purchases needed for resizing, which improves the user's experience. Our design process involves sketches and discussions, with every feature considered and deliberately chosen to improve our final outcome. To create our initial prototype, we utilized 3D printing technology with TPU material for flexibility to further understand how this watch could behave. During the prototyping phase, we found we needed to adjust the cog's height to ensure accurate printing and proper functionality.